From North Carolina, this really freaked me out. This is according to Popular Information at Substack. I've talked before about Judd, what's his last name, who has this particular website. But anyway, as he put out there today, North Carolina's new $300 billion state budget has within it a provision that gives extraordinary investigative powers to a partisan oversight committee that is co-chaired by two Christian devils, the Senate Leader Phil Berger and the House Speaker Tim Moore. Now, it's not that just the U.S. House of Representatives that contains these Christian devils, these demons. Some of the state legislatures have the same, and North Carolina happens to be one of them. The Joint Legislative Committee on Government Operations, that's what it's called. For short, you can call it Gov Ops, is now empowered to, and listen to this carefully, to seize any document or system of record from anyone who works in or with state and local government during any investigations that this committee might decide to come up with. This rule applies to contractors, subcontractors, any other non-state entity receiving directly or indirectly public funds, including charities and state universities. What the fuck? I mean, it gets worse. Moreover, the staff of Gov Ops will be authorized to enter any building or facility owned or leased by a state or non-state entity without a judicial warrant. This includes the private residences of subcontractors and contractors who run businesses out of their homes, whether they are involved with state funding or not. Woo, son of a bitch. There's more. Judd adds this. Alarmingly, public employees under investigation will be required to keep all communication and requests, quote, confidential, end quote. They cannot alert their supervisor of the investigation, nor consult with an attorney. Violating this rule, quote, shall be grounds for disciplinary action, including dismissal, end quote. Those who refuse to cooperate face jail time and fines in the event that Gov Ops searches a person's home. These rules mean that the person, 1, must keep the entry a secret, 2, cannot seek outside help, 3, could face criminal charges if Gov Ops deems them uncooperative. Do you understand what this is? Let me just cut the rhetoric and get right to it. This is a police state defined. If this so-called Gov Ops staff or this operation, if it proceeds, I mean, it hasn't been. I don't think it has been put into effect yet. I think the budget still has to go to the governor of North Carolina, who I believe is a Democrat. And whether he's Democrat or Republican or independent or a Martian, I would think he would veto this. This is a police state if ever one existed. This sounds like some of the rules passed by the Nazi Party in Germany against the Jews when they first took power. You don't have a right to an attorney. This group can break into your house without a warrant. They can place you under arrest. they can deny you anything guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution. Your freedom of speech is gone. Your Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination is gone. The illegal search and seizure is gone. The Miranda rights are gone. This is in North Carolina. I've lived in North Carolina twice. I went to school in North Carolina. I can't fucking believe this. But it's happening. It's happening. Now, the two chairpersons of this, the guy who heads the Senate in that state, the Senate Leader Phil Berger, and the House Leader Tim Moore, these two Christian Nazis claim that these new rules are benign and necessary to exercise oversight of state funds. I mean, the lying bastards. But Democrats and other critics who still have their brains say that this rule has turned the so-called Gov Ops organization into a secret police force, and the sensible people left in the legislature in North Carolina are flat out warning that these new policies have, and I love this understatement, have far-reaching implications. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. So, during a debate on this bullshit, according to what Judd has here, a state senator, a Democrat, Greg Meyer, asked his fellow lawmakers to consider a hypothetical in which this organization, this police organization, Gov Ops, they access personal health records like ultrasounds, which are required by the state to receive for the woman wanting abortion pills. She has to have an ultrasound first. The commission, according to State Senator Meyer, could release those documents to the public if they felt like it, which puts the woman involved, the theoretical woman, hypothetical woman involved, at tremendous risk, not only for her own personal safety and the safety of her family, but it reveals her personal private records, including an ultrasound, to the public. These son of a bitches are fucking insane. This is some kind of a virus. I'm not kidding anymore. I'm beginning to believe some kind of a virus got loose and only attacks people whose brains are already muddled and fucked up because of religious crapola, which would pretty much limit the people being infected to these Christian demons. And the Gov Ops, according to Judd, could also potentially enter and search, for example, a law firm that receives state funding for court-appointed lawyers. So there goes attorney-client privilege demolished. The Democrats in the North Carolina Senate have said this would compromise the sanctity of attorney-client privilege. No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't compromise it. It would fucking burn it to the ground. A state representative, Allison Dahl, who's a Democrat, said that these new powers will allow the secret police in this Gov Ops organization to carry out grudges, empowering them to target political enemies as backlash for previous actions if they wanted to. But I don't see it in such a picayune way. I see this as the emerging in North Carolina, please not North Carolina, such a beautiful state, emerging in North Carolina, this beast. It's like the creatures that came out of a person's chest cavity in the movie Aliens, right? This beast is coming out. And it's a Christian demon creation. Craig Meyer, the state senator, the Democrat, added this, quote, I don't think I have ever publicly called the GOP leadership authoritarian, because that's not a term I take lightly. But their approach to seizing power and covering up their tracks now fits the bill. He goes on, the hypotheticals of how Gov Ops power could be abused are endless. Verbal assurances of restraint are inadequate. We need clear guardrails in this law. End quote. And State Senator Greg Meyer, he added that he hopes that members of both parties can see what's happening before it's too late. Mr. Senator, it is already too late. It's way past too late. We're in 7 counties down the road from it's too late. There's only one thing that can be done. And I've thought this over and over and over in my own personal cogitations about what's your opinion on this, Malloy? Just little conversations I have with myself. It doesn't mean anything to anybody except me. And as far as I'm concerned, there has to be a complete purging of this mindset from the political ebb and flow in this country. This shit has got to stop. And it may take, I don't know what else to say here, but it may take a furious, bloody reaction in this country by people who are not willing to see 240 years of struggle to try to live up to what the framers had in mind for this democracy to continue. It may take that. And I don't like to think that. We had one so-called civil war here that cost the lives of 700,000, 800,000, maybe 1 million Americans killed by other Americans. But this is what Trump wants. And if Trump wants it, the Christian devils in the U.S. House and Senate and in these state legislatures are going to try their goddamnedest to deliver to their Lord and Master exactly what he wants. Trump has gone from being a psychopathic son of a bitch who wound up as president into being Lord Satan. This is him. I mean, if you if you want to believe any of the bullshit mythology that is produced by a certain branch of the Abrahamic religion, and that is Christianity, then here he is. Here is the beast from hell that they've been warning about. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.